Hello, how's it going? Um, Today I'm going to keep on going right along with the Rudyard Kipling If. As I've said before in many videos, if you find that my talking is a little too slow, a little too deliberate, as I like to say, then go ahead and speed this thing up. I do it for everything, even people who talk really fast. So it just makes life a little bit faster. You can get through more content, or you know, you have more options. So the next two lines are actually just one idea. There are a couple embedded mini ideas, I guess, but it's one larger idea. It's if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools. Um, so, Fortunately or unfortunately, I've not been victim of people lying about me too much or people twisting my words. Um, Mostly because I tend to be a bit more reserved in my pronouncements of anything I say. So I usually kind of keep anything I say to people who are a um, little bit more polite or a little bit more generous um, with their charity towards what I say. So I guess that is a lesson in that. But I suppose that he's saying that once you've said something true or given your version of events, you put it out there into the world, and it's no longer exclusively yours. It's now part of a larger conversation that anybody can participate in, for better or worse. You hear this a lot with musicians that once they've created a song and the song becomes very popular, it's no longer really theirs. It's just something that gave birth to. So I remember Paul McCartney saying this about the song Yesterday, that when he wrote it, it actually came to him in a dream. He wrote it down, run it against, run it up against the producer, the other guys in the group. Do you know this song? I don't know what it is. And they said, no, we don't know what that is. We've never heard that before. So he wrote a song around it. And then later he says that it's kind of not mine anymore. I wrote it, I kind of wrote the lyrics, blah, 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 put it out in the world, and it's no longer mine. Obviously, I wrote it, I get all the rights, but it's no longer mine. And so the thing is that that's true with just about everything you say. So there's a difference between what's going on in your mind, what's going out in the real world. So what's in your mind is just internal. So it's only yours. You have exclusivity over it. You're the only one who knows it. Um, and you can just let it rattle around in your head. It's yours. Nobody around is going to beat you. It's just your little secret garden. And then when you put it out there in the world, you start talking about it. Then other people get to get some input into it. And in your head, you're always right. But once you put it out there, it's now subject to being wrong. So your truth, right? Truth you've spoken could be wrong. I mean, I suppose that he could be talking about the actual truth and you're just relaying it. In the sense of the things that you say um, are now subject to debate, criticism, critique. This kind of goes along with that line, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. Now, remember, once you've said something, you've opened it up to fact checking, ridicule, things you can't even imagine, especially if you're not that creative. Um, but you got to be ready for some blowback. The more controversial thing that you say, um, say you say something that's, it's not like I like my cat or something like that. That's who cares. If it's a larger thing that's really controversial, it really gets um, under people's skin. It just you're going to get some resistance, and you got to be ready for that blowback. Um, and the more controversial the thing you say, the more likely you are to get blowback. So you got to be ready for that. In the next line, he says, "Be twisted, be twisted by the truth that you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools." Now, twisted, obviously, you say, this is a common expression. You're twisting my word. So you're basically repeating someone is repeating your words, but they're kind of changing the meaning. You're warping the meaning, you're perverting the meaning, or you're just outright lying about the meaning if you're doing this. And you see this in the media. Someone may make an innocuous comment, and suddenly, within a single beat, the whole world is just caving in. There's nothing you can do about it. And they do this either by just outright lying, they do it by lie by omission. They basically remove the context, or not just within the whole picture, but within the sentence itself. Where you're just like, yeah, but did you see the two words? I said not in front of that, and now you said not before that, and then you're saying, that's twisting someone's words. And you see this a lot with the media. You see this a lot maybe in high schools or very sort of uh, political places, not necessarily government politics, but like office politics, or in sort of catty friend groups, where he said, she said kind of thing. Well, if he said something and she said something, they could be twisting each other's words just to win over people's hearts and minds. And when the media does this, this is probably the most common thing that we all that we have in common with everybody else, that we see the media lying about things. And often this is either to foment discontent amongst people, or to drive traffic to your website or your YouTube channel, which I won't do. And so that usually means that you're financial purposes or political purposes, sometimes just personal. I don't like you, therefore I want to ruin your life. That's quite common. Or you could just be a pawn in this whole situation. That you don't really have the person twisting your words may not have anything against you personally, but they're using you to get at somebody else. Now, the knaves part, obviously, this is it's a polite way of saying bastards. You'd say trolls, or sort of political operatives, or agents provocateurs, or people who've got nothing better to do in life than to screw around with you. I think it's best not to fight them, because these people are actually quite, they're pretty quick-witted. They've got nothing else to do. They can commit a lot of time and energy, and if they're rich, they can commit a lot of money to the cause, a lot of resources just to screw with you, to make you look like an asshole. So I would say, yeah, it's just don't fight them. They're typically either trying to get a rise out of you or just using you for their own purposes. And so, yeah, just don't feed the trolls, as they say. And the trap for fool. Now, obviously, with a trap, something is to lure you into something, like a trap. Like I think of like a mouse trap, right? A little bit of cheese at the end, and then as soon as the mouse takes the cheese, wham, there goes his head, right? So it's there to draw people in, only to whack them over the head in the end. So if I would say, just don't play with fire. If you get involved in one of these situations, you're best to get uninvolved, if you know what I mean. If you can't avoid it, keep any fuel that you can give them to a minimum. Make yourself as boring as possible to them. Eventually, they'll get bored. They'll move on to the next victim. It's usually about the toying around with you that they enjoy, rather than actually trying to destroy you. If they're trying to destroy you, then you need to cut off all communication with them. And if it's not, if you're just a tool, just kind of make yourself boring, and they'll move on. So anyway, that was a short one. as opposed to a long one. So I'll see you soon.